Does Ciph hear that applause, or is it just us? Because that must be mad awkward if we're all silent and that applause is just.
Nah, I think he hears it. You hear it, right, Ciph?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Did you hear the applause for you? Did you hear everybody clapping for you?
Oh no, I thought that was somebody breathing into the phone.
You see, he doesn't hear it, man.
Yeah.
So we got returning guest, Cipha Sounds.
Hello.
Alumni.
Yeah.
On lockdown.
Word.
Yeah.
So why don't we start right there, Ciph? Tell us about your lockdown experience so far.
Yeah, because I mean, you are always on the go, so this must be affecting you pretty badly, I would think.
Oh, this is absolute torture. This is absolute torture. I for a long time I was on Hot 97, and I was on the morning show for 7 years, and I couldn't travel anywhere because I had to be on the radio every day. And once I left, I was like, I'm going nonstop. And I had just gotten back from Europe right when this kind of all started, and then just a domino effect of everything just getting canceled, one after the other, cancel. So I didn't realize how much of my life depended on crowds of people until something like this hits you, you know?
Yeah. Damn.
But I mean, I'm getting a lot of to-do work done. Like my to-do list is my house is clean and everything's organized. My iTunes is getting fixed up nice. I'm deleting all these songs I don't need and making playlists. So it's kind of a good thing, just without the scary part.
Now, how is it being at home with the family? Because I mean, look, you weren't when you were in Europe, you were gone for almost a month, right? You were with on Dave Chappelle's tour.
Yeah, correct.
So how is it being at home with the family at this point?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about New York City. Like, I live in a small apartment, which is technically a big apartment for New York City. But the reason why it's a bigger apartment for New York City is because most New Yorkers don't just stay inside all the time. We're always out. Bars, clubs, restaurants, you name it, we got it. And you see how small the apartment is when you have to stay inside all day. It's my situation is pretty cool. But I was talking to Laura Stiles, who's on the morning show on Hot 97, and she was telling me that the domestic abuse hotline is on fire right now.
Oh shit!
Yeah, man, that you know what I mean? Like, I try to stay positive, but I can imagine how many people are getting very upset. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's already a bad relationship 10 times over right now in cabin fever mode.
Wow, yo, it's funny because I got up here we got onto like those neighborhood apps. We got one
like Nextdoor and all that stuff.
Yeah, right? Nextdoor is the one that we use. And somebody posted something about that, like if like the headline was like, if you're getting abused, like mad in caps and shit, I can help you. That's how, and my wife and I are looking at that shit like, yo, it's people's wild. And like somebody was like, I don't know,
somebody
drunk.
wrote that, like Captain Save-A-Ho type of dude.
Yeah. And we looked at it like, yo, like these people wilding, like not really considering the fact that could really be what's happening. More like somebody was like, like a drunk dial, that kind of effect. And now that you say that shit, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's something I never even would have thought of. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, my house is pretty sturdy. My family's sturdy. Like, I got 2 little ones, so they're just feeling all cooped up. Yeah. But I can imagine how bad it is for some people. And like some people, like, school is your only outlet, or going to work or whatever it is staying home with people all day.
The getting out routine.
So I feel bad for those people, man. Like, if you live in a dysfunctional household already, and like, I don't know how the hood is. I didn't want to go exploring because I'm not supposed to go out, but I just wonder if people are just obeying the rules or just literally just hanging out outside. Because the weather's starting to break here in New York, so, this is when people start... Normally, this is when people would have started being outside a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, this shit's going to go hard. If this shit lasts too long, like, people are going to start losing their minds for sure.
Well, you saw Trump wants to he wants everything back up and running
by Easter, he said.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
And also another thing in New York City is like all these it's not funny, but all these people that gentrified, but there's still projects across the street from their little gentrified apartment buildings. Like, it could get ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the thing in New York is we all live on top of each other. You know what I mean? Other places in the country, there's some space. But in New York, everyone lives right on top of each other, so it could get ugly.
Yeah, no space and nothing to go do.
Nothing to go do.
Yeah.
So
I would think there's probably a lot of people who are not obeying the stay in scenario.
But the thing is, like, what do you do? Like, no, I'm not even saying if you're like a bad person or a criminal or anything like that. Like, if your hobby is bowling, you can't go. If your hobby is going to the movies, you can't go. Like, nothing, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Everything is just shut down.
I mean, that helps, but at the same time, like, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was like a clip in the news about some kids in like Newark, New Jersey, and it looked like they were having like a block party, and the cops was out there trying to, corral everybody. Like, people start bugging on that level. It retards the progress that we're trying to make, right? Because if you believe what this whole thing is about right now, it's like, you hear the flatten the curve shit, you hear all this shit, but at the end of the day, everybody got to kind of really sacrifice for 5 weeks or whatever the recommendation is, and then try to stifle this motherfucker. But when you got these fucking douchebags, I'll call them for now, doing the opposite, like, what does that mean for the rest of us? Like, we got to spend...
Or it's people just finding loopholes that make sense for them. Like in Miami, everybody went to the sandbar and they put the boats out and they was like, well, we in the ocean, is open air. We really, it's kind of social distancing. We're not out in the streets. We're in the water. And they was like, nah, that ain't going to cut it.
You see, that's the reason why the U.S. is going to have a harder time with trying to find the flat line or the curve for this, where if you look in some of the other countries, if you take China, for example, even Singapore, I mean, these are countries where folks, essentially listen, and I'm talking generally, but, the government says something or has a mandate and people will generally fall in line. Whereas the U.S., it's going to be, it's like every man for himself, and everyone will do what they want to do based on what they think is right.
This is definitely the problem of living in a quote-unquote free country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure in China, they locked it down. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, supposedly that's how they beat it, supposedly.
I doubt they beat it at this point. But But I mean, still, if you look at what some of the doctors and some of the specialists who are looking at, they had about like a 3-month period, and then it at least from a public facing, it looks like it's subsiding a little bit. But I mean, that's what we're in right now.
Let's just be fair. None of us really know shit.
Yeah, basically.
So the only thing we could really do is listen to the people that supposedly know shit. Even if we don't believe them, you just can't take the chance and just fucking do whatever the fuck they're telling you to do. And that's it.
That's the best thing we can do, because that's within our control. But I when you guys just mentioned Singapore and why they're quote unquote doing a lot better than a lot of places, I think it does go back down to kind of maybe not the fear of the governmental rule, but like they're used to kind of this strict way of living in some respects, right? So like for instance, like if you get caught selling gum in Singapore, you can face up to 2 years in prison and get fined about 100 racks at the high end. Like that's
they have decency laws there, so like cursing and all kinds of stuff.
Right. So like, yeah, when you put that into context, like that makes shit like this a lot easier to stomach over there because they kind of they get down with each other because there's other shit they got to deal with.
Yeah.
I told you guys about my peoples in South Africa, right? What they told me.
No.
But this was like this was a couple weeks ago, so maybe I haven't spoken to them since, so maybe something changed. But I we did the film in South Africa, so I was hitting up one of the homies over there. That's an MC, and I'm like, oh, how's things going? And I kind of told him, broke it down, what's going on over here. And he's like, damn, that shit's dumb wild. I go, it's not, you guys don't have coronavirus? He's like, nah. And I'm like, you guys aren't doing lockdown and this and that? And, and he's like, nah, that shit sounds crazy. I'm like, hold up a second, man. And then this is what his response was. He's like, y'all superpowers are playing games with each other, man. Y'all bugging.
I mean, that's not far fetched.
No, my conspiracy brain is. I had to turn it off because my conspiracy brain will explode.
Oh yeah, you can go days.
Yeah, like it's about to go. It's about to be nuts. So my brain is like, just bring it down because I love a good conspiracy. I love a good New World Order. I mean, see, this is what I think. See, in the 90s, in the late 90s, all the rappers were talking about Y2K and the New World Order and Illuminati.
Yep.
And I think they were like, they're on to us. Let's wait 20 years. We've been waiting 1,000 years anyway. Let's wait 20 more years. And then now they're going in. You know what I mean?
Yo. I want to say no, but it's you don't know.
They said
you don't
they're
know,
on
bro.
to us, so let's make them listen to Party Like a Rock Star.
Right. Yeah, they're on to us.
Let's change the music.
The internet was not where it needed to be in the year 2000 in order to fully take over. So they were like, all right, let's just wait a little while, get this thing really up and running.
Look, no, what he's saying is real.
No, there's logic behind that, for real.
I don't know what I was listening to in the early to mid 90s, but apparently I had listened to something that I had told my cousin in LA. I was like, I told her something, whatever. But all I know is that 9/11 happened, and she called me, and she's like, yo, you predicted this. You said that all the fucking rappers were talking about this kind of shit. And I'm like, I did? She's like, yeah, you're fucking Nostradamus or whoever the fuck listening to is Nostradamus. And I'm like, yo, I don't know,
I'm nice with mine, son.
Yeah, man.
What about the kids though, Cipha? You started talking a little bit about your two little ones, like what's life like for them and now you guys, like I'm sure you're all like huddled together in your big ass apartment.
Yeah. My kids are really little, like almost 5 and almost 2. So I don't know what they think. Like they know something's different because they don't go outside and my daughter doesn't go to school, but my son, I don't think he knows. He doesn't know anything. He just wants to ride his scooter in the hallway. But my daughter is like making all these coronavirus jokes. Like I guess she's just hearing it over and over, And like we're trying to tell her like to, not cough out, in the open and wash her hands and like. So I don't know what they think. I imagine. They're so little they don't even understand what's really happening. But like I can imagine even just a little bit older, like I'm sure 7 and 8 year olds are like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, my son just keeps saying like he's looking forward to his birthday's in August, and so he's just like, man, is this going to be over by the time of my birthday? He's like, if it's not over by my birthday, we can't do anything for my birthday. That's where his head is at. It's like,
that's real though.
Yeah, well, a birthday to him is the most important thing,
Right. It's like the big moment in the year.
Yeah,
big day of the year.
Yeah. So that's where his head is at.
I don't know what my birthday's in early May, and I'm supposed to turn 40. I was planning. I guess my wife was planning. To do something big, and I was like, yo, whatever you was thinking, like kill that noise, because even if
you should do a party in your crib.
You should do an IG live party.
Yeah, I'm gonna do an IG live joint. And Ciph,
I'm sure you could get D Nice to DJ for me and Ciph as well.
I'll just invite him on my IG, and that'll be for my party. And then I'll have Ciph come and do some comedy on the side.
Nah, he can spin too. He can just spin. Yeah. He can spin while he's doing comedy.
That's what I do.
That's what you do.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But Ciph, with this shit, and like, you know, you mentioned this at the open, like you didn't realize how crowd centric your world was, right? How dependent upon crowds was. The comedy in particular, well, the DJing also, but like the comedy in particular, like that shit came to a screeching halt, like on one day. It feels like, right?
Yeah. Well, the comedy club I work at in New York City is called the Comedy Cellar, and they're very successful. So, like, before we got the full lockdown, it was just the first thing they did was say we had to lower the capacity.
Yeah.
And then, so if your capacity was 200 people, you had to go to 50%, so it was 100 people. So we still had shows rocking when all the other comedy clubs kind of closed for their doors because they would only get a couple of people. But then once they put in the official,
like 10 people,
all businesses, the first thing they did was bars, clubs, theaters, all that kind of stuff. And like, as they were saying it on the news, I was like, oh, that's everything I do. Mm-hmm. And God, you know, by the grace of God, I've actually been doing really well lately. Where like when I first left the radio, I was like, oh man, am I gonna have a career or a life? And actually, like, I've been saying to myself lately, wow, this is going really well, knock on wood. And then boom, this hits, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much of my life was, because the shows that there's a lot of comedians that do shows for 20 people or 30 people. And I'm blessed to get some really good shows and travel with some really famous people. So, like, you know, and I'm on the high end of the middle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm in the middle, but I'm on the high end because of who I roll with. And it has all stopped. And I was like, wow. I did not. The good thing I'm good with money. Is, you know, I've always been good with money, especially since I had kids. And when I left my job, I was like, oh, you never know when shit could go wrong. So, like, I don't wild out with money. But yeah, it just literally just all stopped. And who do I complain to? Or, you know what I mean? Yeah. Who do I talk to?
Talk to God.
Everybody's going through the same shit. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, can I talk to you? Nah, bitch, I'm going through the same shit or worse.
Let me ask you a question, Ciph. If I might have this fucked up, so correct me. Were you not? I don't want to use the word atheist, but weren't you somebody who was non-believer last time we chatted, or did I get that fucked up? You were, right?
I don't. I feel atheists are like against God.
Yeah. Me too.
Like
me too. I don't like using that word.
I've just fallen into my own category of I don't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
You believe in something higher. You just don't want to pinpoint what it is because you just don't know.
Yeah, like I definitely feel in life there's some kind of force. I like to use the word universe. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But there's definitely some kind of energy, some kind of force. And I do believe like we do have like souls that may go somewhere or do, you know what I mean? But I don't know if it's like, I definitely don't believe in like, you know, like what, you know, like religion, like what they, like, I could see the scam in some religion.
You're not a Catholic.
But I also, no. I'm not any religion.
Right.
But I do model my life after a lot of different religious beliefs.
Yeah.
But not just one. Like people always ask me why I don't eat pork. And I go, I don't eat pork for the same reason Muslims don't eat pork, because I believe what they're saying about pork, but I'm not a Muslim.
So right. So basically you're a religious cheater, meaning you cheat taking the good from all of them. And
no, he's an a la carte religion.
Yeah, he's an a la carte religion.
I'm a la carte. Yeah, I'm a la carte.
You got the cheat
He's like,
code.
I'll take that. I'll take 2 of those. Some of that.
This makes sense.
Because I gotta sit my ass through a Catholic mass, which half of I'm not really subscribing to. But then you get the cheat code, and you're like, you know what? I like the homily part of that, but I'm gonna scrap everything else.
But it makes more sense.
Do you pass that? Have you passed that same thought on to your kids? I mean, they're young, so I mean, obviously they're probably not too in tune.
My goal is to like allow them to pick whatever they want. Now my wife's family is Filipino, they're Catholic. So
are they hardcore with it, or
no, not hardcore. Not hardcore, but definitely like, it's definitely in the mix, like all a Christian, like I don't even celebrate Christmas, like, but they celebrate Christmas at my in-laws or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but like I just feel like I would let them, because if they came back, if my daughter came back and she was like, I believe in Judaism, then I would fully support it because it was her own, something inspired her or made her think that way. So I would be fully supportive. But I personally, like, I try not to push it. Like, I make sure they know, like, Santa Claus isn't real. Santa Claus is a symbol of this time of year. You know what I'm saying? And I explain about some people follow Jesus, and this is when they celebrate his birthday. But some people think it's a different day. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just because if you could be Catholic, you could be Christian. You know what I'm saying? You could be Greek
Baptist.
Orthodox. You could be Baptist. You could be there's so many different ways to look at it. So I just try to show it off. And then I even explain how Jesus is all up in the Quran.
Yeah,
right.
Like, even these Muslim people believe that Jesus was somebody, but they just like their boy a little better.
Yeah, sometimes they go to church. I see Muslims go
to
church.
It's facts.
Yeah. That's the thing about Islam. It's like, that's what I really like about it, because they don't try to act like Christianity doesn't exist. It's like, no, we follow your boy too. It's just that
our boy a little better.
Our guy. You know?
He was the opener.
Great. Now we're all getting corona. Thanks to you, motherfucker. Thanks.
Come on, man. I always say, if Jesus or God doesn't have a sense of humor, we're all fucked anyways.
Yeah,
man.
that's true.
I literally say that on stage. I'm like, he invented sense of humor.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would he invent it if we're not allowed to use it?
I kind of wish I would take that approach a little bit, with leprechauns. I should have told my son that leprechauns weren't real. He
thinks there's leprechauns.
Wait, you got to unpack that, because that's not the Tooth Fairy. That's not Santa Claus. Like,
right.
You don't really got to.
Didn't have to be there.
You don't got to bring that dude up.
St. Patrick's Day. It was like one of the first days of like school being closed and like lockdown and everything, and so he's used to being at school and they do crazy stuff for St. Patrick's Day and that kind of thing, and so I guess he was just having a bit of cabin fever and like we didn't get up early enough and do any kind of enough shit around the house to make it look like leprechauns came and caused mischief and shit like that.
Wait. Y'all doing the leprechauns came to the crib shit?
I don't even know that one.
Yeah,
that's what they do. They come in.
Wait, you repurposed the Elf on the Shelf for St. Patrick's Day? Is that what you talking about?
Apparently that's what. Yeah, I don't know how we got roped into it, but apparently that's that became a thing. And so he was, he went inspecting the crib looking for things, and he only saw a couple things that were out of place, and then he like fucking burst into tears on some. Oh, shit. They didn't come and they didn't do. It's not like other St. Patrick's Days and
movies.
Like,
wait, hold on. So, but you're saying on other St. Patrick's Day you go around your house and mess things up?
Well, I think we've done it. I don't think we've done it too crazy, and I don't really remember. But I think the big difference here is that he was in school or preschool every St. Patrick's Day. So, like when he would go to school in the morning, they have like, they have things messed up. They'd have like glitter all over the place, and
shit.
You know what I mean? And there's like green dye in the toilets, so the leprechauns took a piss in the toilets. That kind of stuff.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah,
I never even heard. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's some California shit. I didn't know about that either. Wait. Bringing it back to religion for a second. So, Ciph, if your kid, one of them or both of them, said, "You know what? I believe in Satan," what would you like? Would you be fully supportive, or
like how as long as you found him on your own?
Right? Maybe.
Yeah, I'll be supportive, but to the point where, like, what I mean by supportive is, I mean, like, if this is what you believe, but I would lay down, like, yo, you're going to have a hard time with this, and this, or I think this and I'm not going to be, like, I'll still always be your dad, but I'm not going to go to none of your meetings or anything, you know what I mean?
Like, I'm not drawing.
Like, I don't know if there's, like, I don't know if there's like Satanist like recitals or something, or like
mass
the choir version. You know?
Yeah, there's gotta be.
He said the choir.
But you could put pretend that Satan ruined the house in the morning.
Right.
Yeah,
but shit, Satan was here.
Satan used to be an angel, right?
Right.
Yeah, fallen angel.
Angel, so
isn't it Gabriel?
So like,
no.
I think so. I'm not 100%, but come on now. I think so.
Wait, isn't it Azrael or no?
Isn't that the cat?
I think we're the worst group to actually know any of this shit.
That's the cat. That's the cat from the Smurfs.
Yeah, Azrael. Gargamel.
Gargamel's cat, bro.
Yo, but like maybe like he was an angel and then he fell. And he's like, yo, I love fire and brimstone and making people suffer, but I really did like the choir. So he still has like a choir.
So he's like a heavy metal rock star, dude.
And then like think about who's in his choir. Like if he made like Elvis Presley sell his soul to be famous, and then now he's down there in hell, and his choir is on fire, like Biggie and Tupac. And like,
so you're saying Simmons is the devil?
he got the slaughterhouse in hell, basically. That's funny.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. I don't know.
I love how like they always put like angel wings on Tupac, like because he was famous. He definitely went to heaven. Like, no, that thing was wild, yo.
Yeah, not according to the religious books.
Like, he's at the gates. He's like, yo, I'm famous. I'm Tupac. He's like, yo, you shot at police. You gotta go downstairs, yo.
Right.
He said, you gotta go downstairs.
You gotta go downstairs.
You gotta go downstairs, man. Oh, man.
Yo.
Yeah, but I try to one thing I do as a dad is I promise myself I would never lie to my kids.
I remember you saying that last time we had you on.
Oh, I said that.
Yeah. That was a good takeaway that we all had from that.
Yeah, I remember I would say I'll never lie, but now I realize as I get older, it's harder because like now I found myself like bending the truth. You know what I mean? Like not with big things. Like I wouldn't lie about Santa Claus or anything, but like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm going out.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to say where I'm going, but I don't want to lie.
Yeah.
You're fibbing.
But do you really qualify that as a lie though? Because technically you didn't, but you feel like you should have given more.
I'm just saying,
giving limited information.
I'm a very black and white person, and I know life is not black and white. It's a lot of gray. So I remember I made a hard stance before I had kids that I'll never lie to my kids. And then I'm like, oh, sometimes you gotta lie a little, like even to like what am I gonna do? Like if I'm planning a surprise party, and then my daughter's like, "Are you planning a surprise party?" Like. I got a lot.
I'm Honest Abe.
Yeah, I tell my son sometimes you have to do the wrong thing for the right reason.
Like tell him there's leprechauns.
Right. Exactly.
I tell my kid in that situation, Ciph, I tell my kids, "Oh, Daddy was just joking. It was just a joke."
Yeah, like you tell them afterwards.
Right.
But it's hard, yeah, because we tell them don't lie, don't do all this stuff, and then when we have to do something that they can perceive as, even if it's a small little thing, and they catch us out on it, and it's like, well, I thought you told us not to lie, and
yeah,
it's a hard explanation.
Yeah, it's complicated.
And then I read this thing somewhere that said your voice becomes your kid's inner monologue. Inner voice, yeah. So I was like, oh shit, I gotta be careful everything I say. I'm talking about stuff I say on the low, to myself. If I say something bad about myself and they hear it, that goes in their head. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you gotta be careful what you say around them. And
but how long is that inner voice for them supposed to last? Because I don't remember. My inner voice is not like my mom talking to me all crazy.
Mira, hijo, ¿qué te pasa? 100% it is. 100% it is. Yes. Okay. Now I'm saying as you get older, you add to it, but that core voice is there.
I guess when you try to think back when you were younger and you were knew you were about to do something wrong or something like that, you could hear you're going to get in trouble, or that so I guess that kind of thing, because the parent has instilled that. Whatever.
I get it. We're not saying literally the voice.
No, not literally. Yeah, I'm just saying things that have, like you ever see these kids or these, not even kids, people that do wild shit and they have no remorse.
Yep.
What were their parents saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
that's usually how I look at kids. I'm like, yo, I don't even blame them. I'm like, yo, their parents fucked up the foundation somehow. What were those conversations like?
Well, no, it's true. It's true. I mean, there's an example. My son got into it with another kid at school one time, and when my wife went to go pick him up at school, there was a teacher there, and the other kid was there, and my son was there, and the teacher was trying to kind of explain what had went down, and then the other kid's mom came up, and she was super defensive about everything, and then she she pointed over to my son, because the other kid hit my son in the arm, and her, instead of being any kind of apologetic or wanting to try to work it out, she was talking to my son, pull up your sleeve, let me see your arm, I don't see any mark, that kind of thing. So then that just lays it out in terms of, all right, so obviously this mom, this family, they're not teaching this kid to respect other people's space and apologize or any of that kind of stuff. It's really on some
everything's confrontation.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think we're pretty, we're all of us here, we are pretty well-adjusted people. I think so, to a point. And the things I say to my kids, I know the neighbor is not saying. Some neighbors are like, yo, punch first. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever take no shit from nobody. My friend Cardinal Official, we all know Cardi, right?
Yeah.
He is me and him will be out, and he's got a rule. His number one rule, being a real hardcore Jamaican that lives in Toronto, his number one rule is, yo, men don't take disrespect from nobody. Mm-hmm. So I'm always having to calm shit down, because I'm always there's no point in fighting with this security guard in front of the club. There's no point. But Cardi's yo, don't ever disrespect. And I'm oh, let me go talk to him. So is that now, mind you, I told you before last time, I didn't have a dad growing up.
Yeah.
So is that the difference? I didn't have a dad to tell me, don't take no disrespect from nobody. So now I'm super peacekeeper, super negotiator. I don't know if his dad was like, yo, never take disrespect. Number one thing of your life. And that's where we stand today. You know what I'm saying?
Well, do you know if his kids kind of act on that same principle?
Yeah, he's tough on his kids. He's way tougher on his kids than I am. You know, he's like, yo, there's no talk, there's no But I mean, mind you, he's a great dad. He actually should be on the podcast one day. He's a great father, but he's way stricter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, I didn't have this strict upbringing. He's like, and then I can see him and his wife. Like, no, you don't ask the kids if they want to eat now. It's time to eat.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with.
And my kids.
I'm with that.
My kids. Yeah. My kids eat roaming around the whole apartment. Like they just
you have them grazing.
Right. See, I'm in the middle ground of that, right? Because I feel like there's some times where you have to just now it's time to eat. This is what you're going to eat. But on the flip side, it's also like teaching. I think if you give them some room to make a choice or have a say in something, it builds them up to feel like, all right, well, I'm a voice that has to be counted as well. But then, but that's just me.
I see both sides. So sometimes I do one, sometimes I do the other.
Right.
And another thing is like, you know how like when we were kids, like they tell you like finish all the food on your plate.
Yes.
Like don't leave it till you finish. And now when you get older and you try to diet, they're like, oh, just eat half. So now we just eat half, and we were taught to eat every. You know what I mean? Like
all these
they set us up for failure.
All these fucking contradictory principles for sure. But like for me in my household, right? I mean, you guys, EFN and K, you know this. Ciph, you don't know this because you haven't been around me much. But one day you'll learn. I'm a tremendous asshole, right? And so, with respect to my kids, I usually kind of tell them bluntly,
Manny.
Yo.
I think your beard is banging up against your damn microphone.
Is that okay? Is that better?
Yeah, you're good.
Your beard is being an asshole right
now. So I'm telling them all the time, like, yo, you don't pay taxes to have an opinion. So until you start paying taxes, I tell you when you eat, I tell you when to go to sleep, you better clean the fucking kitchen and all these other things. And they look at me like, so right now that's commonplace in my house. So they're like,
yeah. And how old are they?
13, 7, and 4. So
how is the 13 reacting to that? Is it starting to buck back?
What's funny about that is, she's like, I think she's for the most, well, no, she does buck back in certain cases, but what's funny is she's actually correct. So I'll be lenient in those cases. When she stands up and she's got kind of facts supporting it,
right,
I'm with it.
Right.
I'm like, all right, you win. Like you got that.
Yeah.
Go do your
that's
thing.
dope. That's dope.
I like the strict approach. I'm with that, Manny. I'm gonna try that in my household.
I don't have a lot of fans when it comes to that because my mother. What's funny is my mother used to be super strict with me and my brother, but when it comes to the grandkids, shit, better not.
Anything goes.
Yep.
How you guys doing, E, with the pregnancy? Now's a bad time to be.
Yeah, I'm starting to get nervous about the pregnancy in this whole Rona era, especially as they start clamping down even more locally and shit. And today I was listening to the news, and they were talking specifically about pregnancies and certain measures that the hospitals are taking, where they're taking out like certain people out of the delivery rooms, like the doulas and the and all that. And we have that. We have
non-essentials.
Yeah, and they're saying that they're starting to worry that like I guess certain rights of the women, of the mothers, are being taken away in this process. And in some cases, the fathers who they think might have the virus, or if they do have it, they're taking them out of the room as well. But they're saying that if he has it, chances are the mother has it. Chances the baby already has it. Might as well just keep them together. So I don't know. We're a little nervous, man. It's a little crazy.
Well, how far along are you?
The baby's due June 9th, so It's definitely gonna happen in the era. So.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah, and then going to doctor's visits, everything's just getting a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid someone gets sick and all that. Before that would really come.
Yeah, one thing I heard on the news last night that I didn't realize is if you get sick and you get the coronavirus and you go to the hospital, nobody can even come visit you.
Nope. First of all, that's it when you get in the hospital, because that's a whole process in itself.
If you get in the hospital.
It's like a line at Club Live.
Well, Ciph got no problem with that. Ciph get in there easy.
Well, I'll bring Cardi because he don't take no disrespect.
Yo, does anybody on this here know somebody directly that actually has coronavirus?
No.
One kid I know said he had it, but I don't believe like comedians. I don't believe comedians because they all talk like you might be just doing a bit. You know what I'm saying? Like
right, and trying it out on you.
That's the one thing about like the one thing I hate about talking to comedians, and not just stand-up comedians, but like improvisers, is like you'll have an email chain about something serious, like not serious, but like, hey, we're gonna do this shoot on Saturday. We're filming like something for YouTube. Hey, we're gonna do the shoot on Saturday. Make sure everyone has this, and then they'll just start like these little riff jokes, and the chain will just go on and on and on and on. I'm like, hey, no, guys, we actually need to do this. So he said he had it, but I don't know if he was doing a bit or he was fucking around.
Damn.
You seen Styles P said he thought he might have had it in January. And that he basically just did all, he deals with all the natural juicing and remedies and stuff. And he says he cured himself, but he thinks he had it.
I don't know. I've been ODing on garlic. I've been taking garlic.
Just eat a clove.
Yeah, clove, mashing that bitch up, put some honey on that bitch, and just swallow that motherfucker whole. And I don't know if that's supposed to work.
Yeah, where did you get that?
Yo, bro.
Fight Corona and vampires at the same time?
Exactly. I mean, it ain't going to hurt nobody. I don't give a fuck who smells my breath in my house. So that's out the window. I ain't got nobody to impress. And at the worst case scenario, it's supposed to be like a good antiviral and just good for your health in general. So I was like, I'll just deal with this breath and see if this helps.
Well, I just drank a kombucha. Did that help?
All right, here's the most important question of the show for you, Ciph. What are your thoughts on the Jay Electronica album?
Oh, man. Is that a dad question?
It's a fatherhoods question. Yeah.
What do you think about it as a father?
Yeah. It affects your ability to be a dad, to know, to have an opinion.
Are you going to be a strict father, or are you going to be
do you play that for your kids that are going to sleep?
Oh, I don't. I'll tell you this. I don't censor any music for my kids.
Yeah.
Like I won't. I play hip hop with curses. Some songs I'm like, like Dog Pound album is a little too much. But I don't censor music for my kids. But Jay Electronica album I think is really dope. I really like listening to rappers that spit so ill that you have to like listen over and over and you keep catching new shit.
Yeah.
I don't know the whole Jay Electronica like hype. Like, was it that he was supposed to release this a long time ago and then he never did? Like that's the things I pick up here and there.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the current hype. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The anticipation of a decade-long wait.
What was the wait for?
I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah, I think it was just mysterious.
Yeah, he's got like a mystique because he's only put out a couple songs, or I don't even know if it was a full project, and everyone's been waiting because he's got all this hype behind him, and so.
And then did it live up to the hype, or did this Corona thing just destroy the hype?
I think it actually did pretty good considering the Corona shit.
Yeah, I don't know sales wise. I think.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying buzz.
I think buzz and critic wise, I think it did well. I haven't really given it a fair listen.
I don't care about sales anymore. That doesn't even matter anymore like it used to. But I would say this. I've been getting more into hip hop lately that is not just for clubs or radio. That was where my mindset was for years and years and years. Like if it wasn't a single or something that I could play in a club, I couldn't fully invest because I was so much into like work. Yeah. So I've been into like listening to music more as, you know, as a fan and listening to stuff that's just not about dancing or clubs. And I think it's really dope. I don't know why Jay-Z's all over it. Was that
every
always
song?
The plan? Is it every song?
Every song.
Oh.
Right. I think someone did the math on it, and I think he's on it more in terms of like amount of time than Jay Electronica is. I think. I think someone, unless they did the math wrong, but I think so.
The only thing I don't like is if you have an album that's been anticipated for a decade and you finally drop it, why is Jay-Z the first voice you hear? Oh, Farrakhan. And then like, why do you not do the first verse? That's the only thing I didn't like about it. That Jay-Z has the first verse.
Or someone could flip it and say, that's how ill he is. That Jay-Z got the first verse on his 10-year anticipation album, you know?
I don't know. I don't know if that was
I like it because it's making, like, there's zero hype. No one knew Jay-Z was going to be all over it, right? That was like a surprise when it came out. Yeah, I like when Jay-Z is going against other people because it brings out the best Jay-Z, in my opinion. That's why I think Watch the Throne, which never gets credit because it's not a Jay-Z album or a Kanye album. It's like both, so it doesn't get mentioned as much as I think it should. I think Watch the Throne.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Rappers going at each other, and then this one is even 10 times more because it's just lyrics. You know what I'm saying? It's just lyrics. And
the production takes a little bit of a backseat on this one.
Yeah, because Kanye.
I mean, just in terms of the focus, everyone's more focused on the lyrics, I think.
Right. Yeah, they could be rapping a cappella because they're just spitting those bars.
I have a question that I should probably know the answer to, Ciph, unrelated to everything we've talked about, and that is, I know your people's with Michael Che, right?
Yeah.
Is SNL actually happening this weekend?
No, it's